And just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Of course, my impression is terrible, but this is how I feel about Legacy right now. So they finally did what they should have done, in my opinion, like 3 months ago or something like that, and they banned Expressive Iteration and the other broken card in the initiative card. So I was kind of off of Legacy for a while now, because if you were not playing either one of those decks, you just were kind of an idiot. And the delta and power level before those decks and anything else that you could play, particularly decks that I like to play, was way too high. So I kind of gave up on the format. But now that those cards are gone, I'm actually excited to see where the format is standing at. And I'm excited to try out to see if I can find a way to make Green-White Reclaimer work. Obviously, this is my latest list. I didn't make any changes because I have no idea what the format's going to look like right now. This was before initiative, so you will see that I don't have any like strong anti-white cards or anything like that. People were playing like snuff outs and whatnot. I'm not messing around with any of that. I am just kind of just grabbing this list from a previous metagame and applying it here, but I am actually looking forward to see what the new metagame is going to look like, so that I can make adaptations and I can actually play like a solid just Green Zenith Reclaimer, just Naya Reclaimer value deck. What if you don't know what this deck is? This is a nice little brew that I put together maybe like 2 years ago at this point. I don't even know how long ago, but this is a Green Zenith deck that's based around the card Elvish Reclaimer. And unlike other Reclaimer decks, we're not trying to assemble any combos. So this is very Maverick-ish style of deck, where you're just trying to play value cards and you're trying to just play fair magic, interacting with what your opponent's doing, and then slowly but surely kind of grind them out. This deck really shines versus control decks, because our end game is Field of the Dead. Like, the goal is to eventually get to a point where, you know, thanks to the Field of Elvish Reclaimer plus Flagstones of Trocair engine, we want to get to a point where we are just making a bunch of zombies every single turn with Field of the Dead, and eventually just completely destroying whatever our opponent is trying to do. We also have ways to close the gap a little bit quicker, obviously, thanks to Mins and Boo. Like, this deck was actually absent before turning back into Naya, and the reason to be Naya is specifically Minx and Boo. Obviously, Pyroblast, Roll Elemental Blast out of the Cyber are fantastic, but the main reason to be playing red is really Minx and Boo. This card is absolutely fantastic. It can turn the game around in a hurry, and it is. I don't have enough good things to say about Minx and Boo. Like, it's just absolutely fantastic. It slots into the deck perfectly. It does exactly what the deck wants to be doing, and it does so very well. Kind of be better than every other deck in the format. It also just slots in the curve perfectly as well. We also have a bunch of disruptive creatures in Collector Oof, Scavenging Ooze, multiple copies of Endurance, and even a Knight of Autumn in the main deck. We also have access to some value creatures, Tireless Tracker and Ravenant Excavator, and of course our endgame of Titania, Protector of Argoth, one of my favorite cards of all time, which we can of course, you know, tutor Green Sun Zenith for and stuff like that. We also have some Once Upon a Times to help with our consistency, particularly because Elvish Reclaimer into Flagstone is kind of our best start, so we want to try to help the consistency with some Once Upon a Times. We have some Silver Library for card advantage, and then we have a bunch of one-offs and stuff like that in amongst the lands. So we have obviously Dryad Ivor, because we are a Zenith deck, so we have to play Dryad Ivor. We have Bojuki Bog as a tutor target against graveyard decks. We have like all of our mana. We have Jedmir's Garden as a way to, you know, fix, which is very nice. A bunch of these lands need to be plains because of Flagstones, of course. So you're going to see that we have Garden, Plains, Plateau, Savannah. All of these are just to enable our Flagstones. We also have 3 copies of Wasteland and a singleton Vesuva, which looks a little bit weird, but again, like, sometimes we're going to be copying our Bojuki Bog versus the graveyard decks, like stuff like Reanimator or whatnot. Sometimes we're going to be copying Field of the Dead against Control in order to like double up the zombie production. So actually Vesuva has a pretty significant amount of value in this deck specifically. We also have a singleton Caracas, because this card is just very strong in the format. That's kind of it about the main deck. In the sideboard, we have a singleton Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. Like, one of the strategies against a deck like Elves, for example, is to get a Tabernacle into play quickly and then use Wasteland in order to destroy their Cradles, and we can kind of like outvalue them over there. Although these days, Elves decks are a lot less a lot less combo-y and a lot more mid-rangey with like Fiend Artisan and stuff, so that gives us a much better chance of beating them in what is otherwise a pretty bad matchup for us. Like the combo elves with like Nettle Sentinel stuff is a pretty bad matchup for this kind of deck, but if they're like taking out all of the combo, they're like slowing down and try to play a grindier game, this is kind of exactly what we are built to do, so it plays really well for us. Couple of Carpet of Flowers, this card is fantastic versus Delver strategies, versus control to like get ahead on mana and stuff like that. Singleton Card Rotation, this is an interesting one. This is a card for the matchups where you want to have access to your one of cards more reliably, to your one of lands more specifically. So against stuff like Reanimator, where you can go fetch your Bojuku Bog or your Caracas. Against stuff like the Marriage Lakes decks, you can do the same thing, find an instant speed Wasteland, find an instant speed Caracas or whatnot. Same with Tabernacle. You can also, there's a little combo here going on between Crop Rotation and Flaxstones of Drokair as well, which is very nice. So you don't, I'm not actually going down a land whenever you crop rot, which is very cool. So Crop Rotation seems like another one in the sideboard like this. It actually makes a lot of sense and it's been very effective for me. We also have the 4th copy of Endurance, a couple of copies of Force of Vigor because this card is kind of broken. Pyroblast, Roller Mental Blast, they're pretty self-explanatory, and the same thing is true for Deafening Silence. This is against the combo decks, the spell-based combo. Finally, we have Sevin's Reclamation, which is kind of like the grindy card of choice. This is very solid versus stuff like blue-white, like Jeskai or like, you know, Bant, whatever kind of control. This is very strong because it can get back not only our Reclaimers and stuff like that, but also if our opponent is doing some wastelanding, we can actually get back whichever land gets destroyed, which can be very strong. And obviously when you get to 5 mana, which is not particularly hard with this deck, you can just get the flashback and get a nice little 3-4-1 overall. So very strong card. That's going to be it. We're going to be playing this in a Legacy League. We'll see how things go. Very excited to try this format once again. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you would like to support my content, you can do so in a couple of different ways. The first one is the free one, which is obviously great, which is whenever you're using Mana Traders or TCG Players as services, if you use the links in the description of the video down below, you're actually supporting the stream directly for no extra cost to you whatsoever. You will also find a 10% discount on Mana Traders for your first 2 months in the description as well. And if you would like to support my content directly, you can do so through Patreon, through direct donations. With any donation of $30 or more, I will play any deck list of your choice in a video. And finally, if you would like to take your game into the next level, you can book some coaching. So those are the options and the ways to support my content. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for round number 1. Okay, what do we got here? So we can once upon into something of value, potentially? Sure, okay. It's a little bit of a medium hand. Having access to our Singleton Bog, not great here, but it is a nice disruptive hand. It does some stuff. So we can go turn 1, Windswept Heath, fetch to thin, and then Once Upon a Time. 1 and moves to 6. I'm definitely gonna get a basic forest here, and then we're gonna Once Upon. It's not great, but I guess I'll take an Endurance. It's better than the other options. So now opponent knows about one of these Endurances. Hope they're not playing Reanimator or something. Okay, gonna play Collector Roof and say go. 2 mana 2/2, baby. Definitely interested in like fetching basics first. Watery. Okay, so we're playing against Shadow. This is not a great hand against the Shadow. Mercurial Spelldancer. Alright. Zenith is interesting. Do I want to race? Can I race? I have to try? Man, this is rough. I think I'm actually not going to attack. I'm just going to Zenith for Reclaimer and pass the turn. Here, this Spelldancer is very threatening. This Spelldancer is extremely threatening here. It's not... Yeah, this is really scary. So my opponent can... If they have any removal spell, that would be kind of brutal. So they're going to put 2 counters here. And then swing. Really would have loved to find like a something that can at least pressure the, you know, either the Spelldancer or my, but this is, I do like my Shadow matchup overall, but this is not This is not looking good for me so far. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize, I think it's fine. But if my opponent has a Fatal Push or something amongst their last couple of cards, it's gonna be okay. Have a shadow? They have a shadow. Okay. So at least we can turn Reclaimer into a 3/4 if we want to. Ooh, okay. It's not a bad top deck. Pass the turn. 4 cards in hand for opponent. They can start already just doubling their stuff. They can only double 1 spell per turn. But yeah, this is scary. We're not in good shape here. Scalding Tarn. I wonder if my opponent attacks with Shadow. I imagine yes. I think I'll take it. I'll take this hit. If my opponent has a Murktide, we're gonna be in trouble. Here they can... We are threatening a lot of damage. Because we're also threatening playing, just hard casting this Endurance and kind of doing some stuff with that. We're gonna get Spell Dancered here, which is very good for my opponent, obviously. Another Shadow. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to take it a little bit slow. We're just going to Reclaimer, Flagstone. I think we just get Flagstones. If my opponent has a push, we are... So they're gonna draw Brainstorm. This means that now we can make at least 2 zombies. So I think I want to do this now. The reason being, this means I get to play around Wasteland. So get a Plains, find Field of the Dead, play a fetch land. And now I guess I we upkeep, make a zombie and basic forest, and we're just going to now. We're putting a decent amount of pressure. Like, my opponent can't really attack with these shadows comfortably now. Daze, fetch and respawn, Taiga. If they're gonna double Daze, this seems okay to me. Okay, it's kind of weird. So now they have a land in hand. That's a very weird Daze, actually. So now my opponent can't really attack with the shadows, so they just have to send with the Spell Dancer. They can't play something like Murktide, but the good thing is, like, if they don't find an answer to this Reclaimer, we can just double the amount of zombies that we make. It's a lot of brainstorming. Certainly scary. I actually hadn't thought about that, right? Like the fact that the spell that you double with Spell Dancer actually feeds the Spell Dancer itself. So once you get this going, it seems really, really easy to just keep it coming, which obviously is pretty good. 2 mana for a Baleful Strix. Okay. They didn't shuffle, so we know they very likely have a land, Wasteland. Okay, that sucks. But now we have a bunch of light draws. Prismatic Ending is kind of one of them. So if we Prismatic Ending here, we send everybody. Opponent blocks 2. They take lethal. So this should be a lethal Prismatic Ending potentially. Oh, they could have Snuff Out. Oh, but if they have Snuff Out, they lose anyway. So they need to force this. Okay, so they do have the force, which means we play on. This means that we play on. So I think I'm gonna play Bojuka Bog here, again trying to prevent something like a Murktide from coming down. And we can, I guess, get Dryad Arbor. Like, my opponent going down to 7 means, so we can't attack because they just take 6 and we die on the crackback. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pass the turn, and we have the sneaky Dryad Arbor. We have this sneaky Dryad Arbor that may actually swing things for us. But yeah, my opponent was fortunate to find that Wasteland, because if they did not find a Wasteland, we would have just Vesuvad the Field of the Dead and just go from. The good thing is my opponent did pitch Ponder, which would be yet another card that gets the Spell Dancer going. And my opponent actually Brainstormed last turn, so like the card that they drew of the Strix and the card that they drew for a turn they knew about, those were both from the Brainstorm. So there's a chance that they're Brainstorm locked. There's a chance. I'm not saying that's the case. Scalding Tarn is one of the cards. Let's see what happens here. Shadow gets in. Okay. So that's a forced chump. I guess we can chump. We can chump with Radar. No, actually we can't because we have to chump with zombie token. So now opponent blocks 1, 2, 3. They take 5. It's not good enough. Exile Bojuka Bog, discard Bojuka Bog, sorry. And I guess we're gonna get Dradiver. Untap, draw something. Swords to Plowshare. So that kills both shadows, but actually brings my opponent's life pretty high. So they gain 6 up to 13. At that point, I can swing with everything. They block Reclaimer, take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they have 1 attack with Spelldancer. Alternatively, I can kill Spelldancer. They go to 9. And they take 7, so that's not good enough. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go for attempt to kill the shadow. They can have exactly Force of Negation. Alright. Fetches. Oh, they're just fetching now so they can gain more life. That's smart. Okay, so both shadows are gone. Now we swing with everything. They block Baleful Strix on the Reclaimer. They take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Go down to 3. Good old attack. Oh, I guess they could have something like Push or Snuff Out, which would blow us out, but it's not super likely. And I want to pressure while I can. Yep. Play my land and say go. Do your worst. Yeah, okay. Great. Game number 2. Pyroblast and Rebs seem good. Do we want Carpet? Is the question. We do not want Collector Roof, obviously. So let's organize my cards over here. So I'm gonna be bringing in these, gonna be cutting these. So are the cards that I do not want. Caracas seems pretty bad. These are good. I think I want carpets. I think I want the carpet. They have Baleful Strix, which is an interesting one. I think Ooze is fine. 2 Endurances is fine. So I guess we can do this. And then cut 1 Minsk, 1 Zenith. I'd rather cut a library, I guess. So cut these 6 and bring in these 6. Seems good. Maybe Sevin's Reclamation is the card that I would consider. Sevin's Reclamation is certainly interesting. Oh, this hand is so close. Am I willing to keep this? 1 green source is just bananas with it. Okay, I'm gonna keep. I'm on the draw. It's definitely risky, but I have Swords to Plowshares to kind of interact if my opponent does anything. If we find the green source, though, we're gonna be cooking. We are going to be cooking. Question is, how much do I want to play around days? I think if I do find the green source, I don't play around days. Okay, so found Prismatic Ending, not super great, but out of all the bad draws, it's one of the better ones. So there's that. Knight's Whisper, green source. Okay, I think I'm discarding Pyroblast here. There's an argument for discarding the Minsk, but I think the Minsk can be actually pretty impactful. Brainstorm. Main phase Brainstorm is kind of weird. Do they really have nothing going on that they're just willing to main phase Brainstorm? Delta. So I think that if my opponent goes for a shadow here, like I kind of anything at all, I just run into Daze because... Alright, Thoughtseize means that at least I'm not going to go to this card. I imagine if they have the Daze, they're going to take this Swords. If they don't take the Swords, I'm probably still Swords in on end step, just so I can use my mana and I can get the Daze out of their hand. But I imagine Swords is the card they take. They do take the Swords, play a Shadow. Green Source. Concede the game, move on to the next one. I think I'd rather have something instead of this library. Question is what? I guess let's go with Sevin's. Let's go with Sevin's over library. Let's see. There's an interesting hand. Yeah, okay, I'll keep this. Let's lead on. This can fetch my basic planes, or it can also fetch something for Reb. What I like about this hand is that we do get to play like a little bit of a longer game. I think I'm going to just Wasteland this Water Grave. Maybe I should have led on Jetmir's Garden now that I think of it. Since I'm probably not doing anything. Like I'm probably not gonna. That's a bad draw. That's a really bad draw. Thoughtseize. Okay. So I guess we're gonna be trying to cycle the Jetmir's Garden, which is not where I want to be. Rev is what they take. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Yep. This is how this one's gonna go, huh? I guess this is how this one's gonna go. Okay. Play Delta. Fetch Water Grave. Ponder. Huh. Black Source. Interesting. Okay, so it was just a mistake. I think I'm gonna be using my mana, so I guess fetching to thin does make sense here. Because next turn I have a 3-drop that I'm going to cast almost regardless. Fantastic. Fantastic. Great draw. Main phase Brainstorm. Opponent is all about those main phase Brainstorms over there. Brainstorm plus fetch. What a combo. Baleful Strix. Cycle. Boom. Look at that. No! No! We gotta stop drawing lands, man! We gotta stop drawing lands. I mean, I'm not gonna play that in 2 days, right? We really have to stop drawing these lands, though. Night's Whisper. Okay. Please play a shadow here. Please play a shadow so you can... Yes! Great. Awesome. So now they can force this Source to Plowshares, and then I can play a Minsk. Oh, it just resolved. Interesting. Okay. Play Mystic Sanctuary. So this can potentially mean Red Elemental Blast. They put Thoughtseize on top. Interesting. Well, that's not Blue Elemental Blast. So we know they have Thoughtseize on top. So I guess our best draw is like Wasteland. Prismatic Ending. Guess so. I imagine this is going to get... I imagine this is going to get forced. That resolved? Okay. So I guess I just kill this Baleful Strix and draw a card. No, we're just gonna plus here. But I think I don't attack. I think that keeping shadows smaller is more important. So here opponent gets to Thoughtseize, they take my Prismatic Ending, which is not great, but whatever. And now we're gonna hold on to the fetch lands because we can draw a few. And the question now is how much do we want to play around the... what's the name of the card? Snuff Out? Because Minsk is a weird card, like it actually can get blown out. Like if I -2... Oh, actually, it's not part of the cost. So if I -2 and this gets killed in response, then I get nothing. Kind of like Grist. Okay. Good Underground Sea. Blue Black. Another Strix. You said Murktide? Yeah, I don't think I can really play around my opponent having Snuff Out. I think we just have to lose to Snuff Out. I guess I can fetch for a thingy though. I can fetch for a Dread Arbor and draw a card at least. It's not great, but wow, they do have the Snuff Out. Okay. So they have the Snuff Out. We can scene it for a tracker, or we can scene it for Titania. The problem is if we scene it for Titania, then we're going to get kind of owned by Daze. The question is tracker good enough when I'm facing... Murktide's is gonna take care of Minsk. So I'm taking 2 this turn, so I'm gonna have at least 2 turns, so I guess I should go for tracker. This is what gives me the most value. They could also just have force, obviously, and anything matters, but... So here's tracker. Now we fetch for the basic, and then I guess another red source, just in case. Get the plateau. Just plus on nothing. And pass the turn back. Yeah. I think this is the better thing we got going on, which is not great to be honest, but we're gonna get at least 1 new card, and that's hopefully an answer to Murktide. So we got a crack now. Prismatic Ending. So that does not answer, so it doesn't matter. It's kind of... Although I guess they could have, what's his name? They could have a Shadow. I mean, they're not going to attack with Strixen, though. Murktide needs to kill Minsk. They have push, too? Okay. Alright, so we're going to take 2 this turn. Because this has to kill Minsk. The question is, does my opponent play around second Minsk off the top? Okay. Wait, what? Oh, so the last card is Shadow? Because, like, now they're dead on board. Wait, what? Alright, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Alright, so... if we find the green source, is this hand good, is the question. Because that's what I'm going to be looking for with a Once Upon a Time. I think the answer is this hand is pretty decent. We get to go turn 1, Dryad, turn 2, Wasteland, or potentially Night of Autumn, potentially Endurance. Okay. We could also just go turn 1, Once Upon into green source, and just pass the turn back. Alright, gonna take Flagstones. Play it out, pass the turn. So now, if we do find a green source, we can just go for Reclaim. Plains, S%. Okay, so far so good. I guess that's a way to do this. Okay. Copy 1, and we're gonna keep this one. And we're gonna get Jetmir's Garden, and hope that my opponent does not have Wasteland. We got the Night of Autumn, which is nice versus the S%. Like, ooh, my opponent is a fellow Flagstones enjoyer. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. What are you up to, opponent? Some Stoneforge Mystic action. Okay, there we go. I think we're gonna go basic Plains, Zenith for 1, pay for Sentinel tax, and find a Reclaimer. And if this Reclaimer survives, we probably win the game pretty handily. So we'll see if it does, which is unlikely. Yep. Shadow Port. We can just... okay, so they have Kaldra. Yeah, that's bad. That's a clock. So... interesting. So if we go Night of Autumn, we get to destroy Esper Sentinel. The problem if we do that is... yeah, I just kind of have to find an answer to Kaldra. So I think we're just going to go for library here. Just pay for Flagstones, and I'm just going to Wasteland. This means I take 7 this turn, but I'm more likely to find an answer. Oh, brutal! That's a brutal Skyclave operation. So now, can I win anymore now? Find Prismatic Ending, we may be in shape. That's not a Prismatic Ending. Okay. Game number 2. This is Death and Taxes. I like Savines. I like Force. It's okay. The thing is, my main deck is just very good versus Taxes. So I don't want to mess around with it too much. We can just cut the Bojuka Bog and just be done with it. It's a matter of, is Endurance better than Force of Vigor? Probably not, so let's bring in 1 Force, leaving the 2 Endurances. I don't think I like Tabernacle. I don't think I like Crop Rotation. I do like to be on the play though. Keep. So if my opponent does not have exactly Swords to Plowshares on turn 1, we're going to win this game. I'm calling it right now. I am calling it right now. Turn 1 Reclaimer into Flagstones versus Death and Taxes is exactly. That's not a Swords to Plowshare. Boom. Flagstones, baby. So now next turn we get to go Night of Autumn, the Vial. Go from there. Wasteland. Wasteland's good. Alright. Reclaimer has been plowed. And I think I'm gonna get Basic Plains or Garden. I think I'm gonna get Garden actually. If my opponent wants to Wasteland, I think I'm okay with that. I think we're gonna get my own Wasteland here. Let's just get another Flagstones actually. Get another Flagstones. Untap. We did find a Wasteland. Here's the Night of Autumn. We're gonna blow up that. We're gonna Wasteland the White Source. They could have more white sources, which would obviously be bad for me. Kind of punished. Wow, surprised Thalia still in the Swords to Plowshares. I'm not gonna waste the Swords to just get a Plains and pass the turn back. In fact, we're at a spot in the game where Thalia kind of hurts my opponent more than me. Another Ganjo. Okay. Sentinel doesn't do anything. Surprised, like I'm surprised my opponents kept these cards in their deck. Lion Sash. That I may be interested in destroying. We'll see what I draw. Okay. I guess that means I'm gonna sash. I'm gonna blow up the sash. Pay 1. And play Savannah. Say go. No attack with the Thalia last turn is confusing. Flagstones. Skyclave. Really? Okay. Well, I mean, my opponent gets to draw a card here, but I get to eat their dude. I get a free 3/3, so this seems fine to me. I'm gonna block Sentinel because they can just bounce the Thalia. Also, again, Thalia is disrupting my opponent right now, so that's a Field of the Dead. So we're gonna chill on that one. Swing for 3. Port. Grafdigger's Cage, you got it. Well, perfect. They take 3, so no attacks, no blocks. Okay. And the reason why I played the fetch land there as opposed to Field of the Dead is now I get 2 zombies guaranteed. Okay, take 2. Take 3. Why is my opponent not playing Yori when I do Field of the Dead? Okay. Port my land. Okay. Fetch. There's Plateau. Oh, Wasteland gets destroyed. And I think I'm getting Snowcore Forest. Maybe I should have actually let the port resolve. If I let the port resolve, then yeah, I think it would be better to just let Sevines. That's strong. Creatures, cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield, and players can't cast spells from graveyards or libraries. Okay, so I can get lands back from graveyards, which is good. There are 3 points of damage. Here's Sevines for field. Make a Zombo. Make another Zombo. Flicker Wisp. Okay, so that kills a zombie. I guess it kills the illusion. Never mind. Obviously, that's much better. Let's see what we draw. Wasteland. It's another zombie. So if I swing everything, they take 6. Also, my opponent is doing nothing and they have 1 card in hand. It's actually likely that they have Caracas, so I'm not going to Wasteland Caracas, I don't think. What if I swing with everything? They block here, they take 6 down to 5. Is that worth it? 6 down to 5, I still have 4 creatures left. Yeah, that seems worth it too. So my opponent may be forced to jump with Flicker Wisp. Okay, so we still have 4 creatures. Opponent doesn't have good attacks. I guess because of Batterskull, I was supposed to Wasteland the port. Recruiter. That's bad for me. Bad for me. So now they get an attack for 3 and they get to Flicker Wisp one of my tokens. Yeah. Really punished for not Wastelanding there. Really punished for not Wastelanding there. Wildly punished for not Wastelanding. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Okay, so we have a lot of really good draws here. We have an outstanding amount of. Opponent went and got another Recruiter, which is interesting. Alright, once upon a time. 1, 2, 3. So that's a Windswept Heath or Endurance. So if I swing everything, opponent needs to block. So I think I'm going to get Windswept Heath actually, because it represents 2 creatures as opposed to just 1. So swing with everything. So 2 dudes down, play my fetch, get another dude, blow up the port, pass the turn back. Oddly enough, Thalia kind of doing something. This is very much a terrible matchup for Thalia, but somehow it's working out in such a way that this Thalia is just kind of roadblocking all of my zombies. Solitude. Okay, so they have a white card, I guess. Definitely gonna fetch on end step, it gives me more options. Get a plains here. Actually, I messed that up. I should have gotten Taiga, because now Flagstones has nothing to go get. Ooze. It's not bad. So if I swing with everything, I force my opponent to pitch to the Solitude, which is good for me. Or they have to chump. Okay, this seems acceptable to me. Source to Plowshare's my dude. So that's very bad now. We can still gain it. I mean, we're gonna gain a lot of life. We're gonna gain so much life. So we have at least a ton of time and we have a crazy amount of immediately game-winning top decks. So we're gonna eat a bunch of my opponent's things. Flicker Wisp, the other Flicker Wisp. So we have time and we have top decks. Question now is, are we gonna get there? Take 2. Force of Vigor blows this up and enables both Zenith and Sevines. That is 2 dudes. These are the last 2 dudes. I'm gonna get them right now before my opponent gets to like draw a Wasteland or something. These once upon a time have not been good. Block there, I imagine my opponent's gonna be Caracasing here. So there they go up to 6. Now they can Caracas, recast Thalia. Ah, they did find a Wasteland. Knew it. Yeah. So now they can both attack and block. So they give Thalia pseudo vigilance. The thing is, now I draw Minsk and we are in really good shape. I can also just draw another Green Sun Zenith that gets blocked by these Grafdigger's Cage. So we have a remarkable amount of good draws, but I guess we also have some bad ones, huh? My opponent's also kind of whiffing. That board doesn't really do too much. Let's see if we can find something that does anything. That counts. So red, Minsk. And I'm just going to immediately -2. I'm gonna say yes. And I'm going to -2. And I'm gonna kill Thalia. This way, now I can start attacking. I also get to draw a card. I also get to find, yeah, so now we just easily win. So now we're just gonna get Ramunap. This obviously just immediately escalates completely out of control. Field comes back, and my opponent is extremely dead. But yeah, so these are the kind of draws that I was hoping for, right? It's just, I really needed to, like, you know, find one card and then everything just unlocks and we just win effectively on this. Okay. Stoneforge kind of does something, but also not really. They got Batterskull. They're just gonna hardcast Batterskull here. They play Thalia instead. Interesting. So now they're just dead on board, right? Because they just plus on Minsk. I have perfect information. They don't have enough chum blockers now. Oh, Caracas. Right. So, okay. So we just Sevine for 2 lands, right? Just get Wasteland back, destroy Caracas. Oh, we just have Zenith in hand. What am I even doing here? I honestly just, that was just a brain fart. I'm like, oh yeah, I can just, you know, just get Titania and very much win on the spot. Sure, seems good. My bad. I missed on a 5/3. Missed out on a 5/3. The value that I'm giving up here, and you get to eat my zombie token. I'll give you that much, opponent. You deserve it. You deserve at least for me to give you a zombie token. You know, they can't even cast the Batterskull because of the Thalia, which is okay. So. Game number 3. This seems fine. These are the matches that I was missing in Legacy. You know, like these are the matches that I was missing where you're just like playing fair. You're just like trading 1 for 1. You're jockeying for a position. You're trying to get like squeeze as much value from each card as you possibly can. And this was just not the Legacy that was happening. You know, it was just Battle Cruiser magic. It was just like, oh, here's my initiative card, and now that's kind of it, right? Like, can you beat it? Oh, you can't? Well, that's kind of it. So it's nice to be back to this style of magic. This hand is bad for obvious reasons. This hand is pretty decent, I think. So let's keep it. I think I'm gonna bottom the field, and we can go turn 1. I think I'm just gonna go get because it plays around Wasteland nicely and plays around my opponent having Thalia, which I know they have. So now if they play Thalia, I can still play a library on turn 2. I also have Minsk already, which is nice. Okay, I have Wasteland, and they do have the Thalia. Well, there you go. So here's a Sylvan library. So now I doubt they can answer this library without using the Wasteland. Esper Sentinel. Yeah, I don't understand why they still have that card. Night of Autumn. That's pretty good. So let's put that on top, and then we're going to plus on these. And then what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna pass the turn. We're going to pass the turn back. I am going to, they're gonna attack with Thalia. I'm just gonna flash in the Endurance. This is going to prompt my opponent to either tap out to plow this, or now we just get to like a free block. We just get to eat the Thalia. Yeah, so they just have to give it pro green, which is fine because now I just get to plow them on. There's a land on top which I kind of want to draw, so I don't think I want to shuffle, oddly enough. Maybe I can't. Lauren of the Third Path. Yeah, I actually can't. So there you go. But yeah, I think I do want to draw the land that's on top of my deck. So we're not going to get to do the thing here. I guess I do get to Night of Autumn first, and then kill the mom. Throw target artifact to enchantment. And now I'm just gonna get 2 red sources here. Get Plateau, get Taiga, and Mom. And we're not gonna attack because I'm at 10. My opponent's attacking me with Thalia, so just chill here. It's kind of cool that now Death and Taxes has access to like this source, this Reclamation Sage style card. It's pretty nice. 3 mana for Recruiter. Okay, so my opponent gonna play around Minsk, because if they are, they have to Wasteland right now. I think I have missed one. No, I have not missed a land drop yet, so they don't know that I land drop. So okay, so they do play around Minsk, which is good. So we did draw the land. We are gonna play the Minsk. I think I want to kill. I'm gonna say yes, and I'm just gonna -2. I'm just gonna kill Recruiter, so my opponent can't flicker their own Recruiter. If they want to kill the Minsk, they can flicker the Endurance, which means that we get to trade here, which seems good. They probably have to do it. Oh, Skyclave is a lot better, obviously. Skyclave the Endurance. Do like the trade there, I think. Let's Once Upon for Reclaimer. Hell yeah. And let's play Reclaimer. And they missed the land drop last turn, so I'm gonna blow up the port. Pass the turn. So if they find the land, they can like blink the Skyclave, but I get a 3/3 out of the deal at least. And they can also just miss their land drop, and now we are in extremely good shape now. The question is, do I want to play Minsk, or do I want to activate Reclaimer? Because activating Reclaimer gives me access to... I think I'm just going to activate Reclaimer here. It's crazy that I actually think that this Reclaimer activation gives me more value than just casting my Planeswalker. Yep. We do get the 3/3. Now they get Reclaimer. We do sack, get Jedmir's Garden. And we're gonna get Field of the Dead. And now we also get to get another land. Basic Plains. Get a couple of zombies. Now the question is, what do we do? I mean, we definitely play Minsk here. And I think that I'm going to, once again, immediately minus this to kill the Flicker Wisp. -2, sack, kill Flicker Wisp. Get to draw a card. Land is great. And now we just are in pretty good shape. So they take 3. I think I'm just gonna fetch right now, play around the Wasteland right there. And now we pass it back. We get to Once Upon on the Rend Step, looking for some more action. Again, we have a bunch of extremely great draws. They have to beat this Planeswalker. I have Field of Dead going, which they're only on 3 lands, so if they go for that... Okay, so they're just going to go for Flicker, Skyclave again, get rid of Minsk. We do kind of have to get rid of Flicker Wisp though. Okay, so that's on end step. So let's just once upon here for Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, Scavenging Ooze is better than the land because it allows me to raise. Oh, yeah, that one's good. Yeah, that one's good. So get back Wasteland. Make a zombie. Destroy your Wasteland. Make a 5/3. Might as well play a dude here. My opponent can't Cataclysm, even if they have it. I think we are far ahead enough that I just want to get in my points. Throw away a zombie just to deal, what, 9? Seems good enough. Point on 2 lands. Anybody's game, basically. Good attack, good attack. Gotta do what you gotta do. Eat your Flicker Wisp. Get my concession. No concession. Okay, there we go. Yes, concession. Wow, 2 long, drawn-out games of Magic. I love it. I love that it's back. Okay, 2-0. This hand has a lot of removal, but doesn't really do anything besides that. So I think we're gonna ship it. This hand seems much better. I think I'm gonna bottom the redundant Green Sun. I may be wrong about that. Maybe I'm better off just bottoming the Minsk or the Swords to Plow. We'll see. I think I'm going to go turn 1 Reclaimer here. Because on turn 2, it all gives me the option to like try to go at it again. If my opponent, like they daze me or something. Okay, that's interesting. So now that I have Endurance, if I go for turn 1 Dread Arbor, I can actually cast Endurance next turn if I'm playing against some sort of combo deck. I mean, the problem is, like, if I am indeed versus a combo deck, then Reclaimer is kind of sick to have in play, right? Because I can just fetch Bojuka Box. So because of that, I think I'd rather go for Reclaimer here. Tundra. Counterbalance. Okay. That's, oof. Oh boy, is that a good draw. Oh boy, is that a good draw. Yep, that was an above average draw, I would say. Yep. Very, very decent. Okay, so we're playing probably against some sort of control deck. And I see a lot of basics, so I'm going to be wary of back to basics. I'm also going to be wary of... the question is, now do I want to get another Flex? I think I'm just going to go for another Flex Stones. The reason being, I have a potential second Reclaimer here. Knight of Autumn is an interesting one, actually. Do I just go for another... I don't think I have to go for another Reclaimer. I think we just chill here. The only thing I could see happening there is just Green Sun for Dread Arbor, just to get a little bit closer to what's his name? True name Nemesis. Okay. So I guess my opponent's playing some more Stoneblade. Yeah. So we're just going to crack Flagstones again. Go for planes again. Now I'm gonna be trying to play around back to basics a little bit here. I think we just get Field of the Dead here. And that's a big one. So likelihood of my opponent having a 5 is actually pretty low. I think actually, let's just go for Knight of Autumn. This is something that it's very likely my opponent has a 3-drop, so they're just gonna have, yeah, they're just gonna have to brainstorm here. And if they brainstorm, that means I get to Green Sun or potentially a Dryad. The Fairy Time Raveler. Okay, so we're just gonna go get, I guess let's get a Taiga here. Get Taiga, and we know there's a 3 on top. Let's just Green Sun for 1. And we can Reclaimer. I think I'm actually gonna get Dread Arbor here. Just so I can get a little bit closer to... Because if my opponent has a Wrath, like, that's fine. They kill their own true name, so I don't think that's going to be what's going on. So there's got to be something else. So now if they can bounce Dread Arbor, or they can bounce, and that's fine. Now they can attack if they want. Okay, so let's... There's no way they have a 4 here. So I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to do this because I have 2 1s, actually. Oh, they have 4? Interesting. What, Jace the Mind Sculptor? Or are they just like looking for a force? Because if they're looking for a force, that's fine. Let's see what's up. Wow, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Okay, got me. Here is 2 Reclaimers then, and send it back. I somehow feel like I'm kind of ahead here. Okay, Source of Plowshares. We know they drew a Jace, so they can Jace into minus on Reclaimer. They shuffled, so they don't know what's on top of the deck. That's a really bad draw, obviously. I think we just attempt to Titania. It's almost impossible they have a 5. Okay, Snapcaster Mage. So now we're good to go. We get back Flax. Just get back Wooded Foothills. We get a zombie. We're gonna get a 5/3 as well. We know this Reclaimer is resolving, which is nice. And send it back. Plus the fairy. This Tronheim Nemesis is kind of like just playing defense, which is funny. Okay, so now Jace starts to do some brainstorming over there. Opponent seems to be like straight up blue-white. Doesn't seem like they have any splashes. Suggested mostly by the Prismatic Vista. Maybe they have like a singleton, like red source or something. Back to base. Yep. So here what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, I think, well, I guess I have to do this. So if my opponent just like, they go for like Snap Plow, that's kind of fine. Get the Forest. Are they really doing nothing here? Yeah, they have to do something about this. So they shuffled. They don't know what's on top, so they're just gonna plow Titania here, I assume. Then we can plow the Snapcaster. We're still gonna have like a decent amount of stuff going on here. If we find a land, we can go find a second. Yeah, so let's just plow Snapcaster. Here we get a peek at Counterbalance. Stoneforge Mystic is on top, so I guess we can't do that. So I guess we're gonna have to send 2 dudes at Jace, and then we're gonna sack this for another basic, I guess. Yeah, killing Jace is priority number 1. I could also kill Teferi if I swing with both at it, and then Jace dies, which is very important, and then we can block. So the question is, would I rather have 3 mana next turn? I think I really value having access to the 4th mana. Probably more than I value killing Teferi. Teferi is just going to minus on the elemental token. So opponent takes the free block, Jace down, we untap. Honestly, I kind of feel like my opponent should minus on Reclaimer. Wow, that plus is so greedy. That plus is insanely greedy. Opponent gets Batterskull, which is fine. Let's activate Reclaimer, sack Dryad, get another basic Plains. This is going to give me 4 mana to work with, which is not too much, but okay. Let's start by plowing Stoneforge. We get to see what's up. Flooded Strand on top. Let's see if they let this resolve. Because they can just force this Source of Plowshares, maybe counterspell. We know one of the cards is Batterskull. Force of Negation, Hardcast. Okay, so we know they're drawing Flooded Strand. And we know that they have Batterskull in hand. So if I Prismatic Ending here, the Stoneforge Mystic, and we attack with everything. I guess we can attack with everything at the Fairy, but no, then they get to double block on me, my Elvish Reclaimer, which I don't want. So I will need to, I can't do that. I definitely want to attack the Fairy because the Fairy is just going to kill one of my tokens anyway. I think we just, because my opponent had cast Batterskull. Yeah, this seems fine. So let's just go attack all of these 3 at the Fairy, not attack with Reclaimer. My opponent can then eat the elemental token, chump. Okay, they just let the Teferi go. What I can do now is I can just Prismatic in the counterbalance, or I can just resolve Sylvan Library. I think I'm gonna go for Resolve Library. We're at 25 life, and we already have a Field of the Dead in play. I think this library is just straight up gasoline. Okay, now they're turning into the attack now. Zenith. What do we have? Another Reclaimer. Vesuva is nice. They actually don't have a 2 in the graveyard, so we could Zenith for 2 if we wanted to. They have a 1, so we can't really do it for 1. Let's go bottom Reclaimer, pay 4 for Vesuva. Vesuva, copy Field. Now we're going to let that go. We know at least 1 card in hand, and we're just going to Prismatic Ending Stoneforge. See what my opponent has on top. They revealed Prismatic Vista. So they activate Stoneforge. Now we can just... I think they're gonna suit up the True Name next turn. But that's when I can just... I mean, I'm gonna make more tokens here. And then I can just go... Zenith for Night of Autumn. So they shuffle the Vista, they're not drawing that, they're gonna be drawing something else. They don't suit up. Interesting. Well, we're gonna... That's an interesting attack. I mean, I'm obviously sending everything into both the in front of the Batter Skull. Like, they can't just like bounce and replay. I don't think I like this. Okay, so they're just playing it super slow, which is fine. Let's get Ariv Mesa, I guess. Like, it doesn't matter what we get. This is just a way to trigger. Okay. Say yes here. Bottom that. Bottom that. Play land. Bunch of zombies. Swing with these. I mean, my opponent not using their mana for anything is obviously great for me. So I'm just gonna chill here. I guess we don't have Night of Autumn in the deck anymore, so I guess good thing that I didn't go for that. That would have been stupid. Yep. So they suit up the Batter Skull, which I'm surprised they didn't do last turn. So this goes up to 21. Go to 8. Huh. I guess we can play Endurance here as well. I think that's fine. Although I guess we can get counter. I totally forgot about that. Snow-covered mountain. I don't think I care about... actually, yes. We can... Yeah, we can shuffle my own graveyard just so I can shuffle Night of Autumn back, and now I can go get Night of Autumn. I hadn't thought about that before. That's great. That's really, really good. We know they have Snow-Covered Mountain on top, so that's great too. I think I'm gonna bog them. No, they're drawing a mountain. Like, we don't get that. So let's just play something else, just to get wood, whatever. Oh, we should have gotten Flagstones. Ooh, that was... I guess we're not activating Reclaimer anyway. Okay, so now we have kind of perfect information. We know that well, there we go. All right, so I guess we don't really have to use the Zenith now. So we just cast Night of Autumn. We know this is good to resolve. Night of Autumn, blow up Batter Skull. Wait. Oh, they have 2 cards in hand. Now I'm an idiot. Oh, wow. Well, that was silly of me. I mean, there's nothing I could have done really, so it's kind of the same, but so if I attack here, they block, they take 16, but they gain 7, so that's no good. So let's go find Dryad Arbor. This is a couple more zombies. So now next turn we're gonna be at 2, they're gonna be at 27, they're gonna gain. I guess we just lose to the Batter Skull, unfortunately. Is there anything we can draw to get rid of the Batter Skull? Man, their last 2 cards were Force of Will plus blue card. That's brutal. So I swing with everything. They take 16, gain 7. I think it's better to attack the following turn. They're going to be at 35 and they're going to take 21. Still not enough. Still not enough. That's brutal. That is brutal. I think I don't have any outs now, particularly because I know what I'm drawing. Yep. So we can Zenith for 4, but it doesn't really do. We get a little bit of an extra look, I guess. So they're not Prismatic Ending. Yeah, none of these matters. Collector Oof almost matters, but doesn't really. All right, we got there. We got there. Okay, so Savines seems good. Pyroblast, Rev seems great. So does Carpet. I think Oof is fine. I'm gonna cut 2 Swords to Plowshares. I think I'm gonna cut Caracas. 2 Endurances can go. I think I want exactly 1 Force of Vigor. I do like Prismatic. Actually, maybe I want 2 Forces. They showed me Counterbalance, they showed me Stoneforge, and they showed me Back to Basics as well. There's some pretty definite, you know, I don't think I want to be flooded on 4. Now let's just cut 1 more Swords to Plowshares. Kind of want to cut a land. They showed me Snapcaster though, so I don't think I want to cut Bog. Let's cut Wasteland actually. And last cut, Ramunap. I guess we don't need Ramunap when we're gonna have access to Savines. Okay, let's keep this. Seems like a fine hand. A little bit of everything. We can lead on Once Upon a Time. Got here. Windswept Heath, Scavenging Ooze. I think I'd rather have Wooded Foothills. Let's just pass it back. And I'm gonna try to Zenith for 2. I'm gonna attempt to Zenith for Reclaimer. We're gonna fetch for basic forest, fetch for basic plains, and here's Zenith for 1. Reclaimer, go. See if my opponent has a prismatic ending. Swords to Plowshares, yeah, whatever. Rev is nice. So let's play fetch land and say go. Holding Tarn. That's cool, that's cool. Reclaimer, okay. Reclaimer. Oh, I actually messed up the sequencing here, didn't I? Now I can get Snapcastered. Whoops. Now I'm gonna be forced to like blow up this Red Elemental Blast on a Snapcaster. It's not the end of the world, but it's just unnecessary. This was very avoidable. Okay, I'm gonna still have the plow. So as long as we don't get back to basics here, we should be good. Okay, so they just straight up cash in the Teferi, which is understandable, but we're gonna use this window to attempt to resolve Titania. If this resolves, I'm gonna be very happy about my spot. They have the 4. Force Pitching Hydroblast. Interesting, okay. Force Pitching Hydroblast. Jace the Mind Sculptor, which actually I can I can prismatic ending somehow. That's funny. Alright, so 2 cards in hand for opponent. Maybe their last 2 cards are red, black. Maybe their last 2 cards are Force plus blue card. That would suck for me, but wow, Force plus blue card. There you go. It was even Spell Pierce, so good thing that I drew a land there, but woof. So now what? I mean, we just pass it back. I don't think I want to wasteland the bulk, because we can just draw Field of the Dead, so yeah, this Jay's probably gonna run away with the game now. Man, that really sucks. Like, my opponent's draw was just exactly perfect. And again, like, I actually messed this up, right? Like, I definitely messed this up. Like, I threw away... Like, I had to waste my Rev in a card that just was not worth it. So, it's definitely on me. It's most definitely on me. So, is there anything I can see it for here? I guess it would need to be just Ramunap. Oh, I cut Ramunap. Oof. Woof. Alright. So I guess I'm getting Tracker, which is really bad. Ugh, that sucks. Yeah, I think so. It's awful, but I think it's what I gotta do. I'm gonna Wasteland at this point because... Oh yeah, okay. So now we're just dead. Like, we can keep playing this game, but I don't think I can win at this point. My opponent answered my Tracker. We know they have a Jace in hand. We can't beat the onboard Jace, so I think that just... I mean, it's gonna take like 8 turns more, but I can't win this game anymore, so I'm just gonna pack it in now. Round number 4. Fortunate round the previous one. This hand is really tempting, but I think it's ultimately a little bit too slow. This one is a little bit more interactive, which I like, so I'm gonna keep this one. I think I'm gonna bottom Endurance. I'm actually gonna bottom the Scavenging Ooze. It's the most easily killable out of all of my cards, so... Really hoping that my opponent's not playing Delver, because a wasteland here would be pretty bad for me, but we'll see. Bulk into DRC. All right, into bubble. Busted. I think I don't want to source to plowshare this right now. I think I'd rather play around. Well, I think we just wasteland into STP, I think. And I am gonna do it on their upkeep because that way I get to play around Force of Negation. But I think even though Endurance is kind of an answer to the RC, this is, you know, worth doing. So they're gonna know what I'm gonna draw now. Alright. STP your dude. DRC down, they draw a card from bubble and an ETB tapped lane. It's pretty good. That is pretty decent. So now we play around Daze very effectively. They don't force, and it looks like they don't have red mana. I mean, they're gonna need to find red source into Bolt real quick here. Brainstorm. We do have the potential of cheesing them out here. But if they answer the Reclaimer, we're going to be playing a game. If they don't, I think we're just gonna... Okay, they do have the answer, so we play on. The question now is, do I want to... I think I want to Endurance right now. So if they want a Daze, we actually set them a little bit back. They force. Okay, force, pitching, predict. Force, pitching, predict. Wow, I guess predict kind of works, huh? Predict kind of works with DRC and bubble. That's funny. I hadn't thought about that. Makes sense. Wasteland my second white instead of my red? That's weird. Okay, so they have a big dragon. It's a land. And here's a stupid 2/2 that doesn't do anything at all. So we kind of have to find Plow in order to be in this game anymore. Because if we don't find an answer to this Murktide, we're just going to lose to it. Well, maybe if they don't find Daze, we can race back with Minsk and Boo. Just make it 4/4 and like game 6. Delver. Seems a little bit harder now to race back. I mean, I'm gonna attempt to. Just seems unlikely to work. Here's a Minsk. Daze? No Daze. Alright, so I can minus to kill the Delver, which I guess I have to. Maybe I should have attacked first. No, actually, I think it's better this way. So we get to draw a card, which is gets us a little bit closer to the source to plowshares. Now the Murktide kind of has to go after the Minsk, which means we gain 1 turn. They shuffle. They knew all those on top because of... So now this kills the Minsk, and now we can draw into either another Minsk or a Plow, and we may be in this game. Bojuka Bog actually does not help me slow down the clock here. Kind of awkward even how that doesn't work. Pretty brutal. Murktide is a hell of a card. They definitely did not need that extra line. It most certainly did not need that extra line of text. So as is right now, this is a 3-turn clock if I don't fetch and if my opponent doesn't find Bolt and if they don't find another threat. Which is a lot of ifs. But I can just draw a Plow and then we can be Gucci. So second Murktide, that one is good enough. Yeah, no, those weren't having good enough. Okay, so Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, Carpet of Flowers, Collector Roof. It's funny how like every time I get paired against Delver, I always draw Collector Roof game 1. Every single time. I'm gonna cut Caracas. 1 Prismatic Ending. We're gonna have a bunch of Pyroblast and Reb, so that's fine. And Knight of Autumn, and I think I want Savines. Let's cut a Singleton Minsk and maybe Tracker. I think I'd rather cut Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze is a little bit more awkward. It is better at keeping a Delirium in check, however. But Endurance is just... I guess I can cut 1 more land because I'm going to be bringing in all of these carpets. So let's just cut Vesuva for the Scavenging Ooze. On the play, and this hand is very strong. This hand is absolutely fantastic. Remarkably fantastic. Opponent moves to 6 too. Yeah, this hand is an absolute banger. Let's get a basic forest. Play forest, and here's a carpet. And pass the turn back. So if they play anything on turn 1, nice. So now we get to go make some green, and we get to Zenith for 1, Reclaimer, and I guess we're gonna plow the DRC. If opponent wants to daze the plow it, that's kind of fine with me, I think. So here they can bolt Reclaimer, which is not amazing, but it's fine. Okay. You want to wasteland my Flagstones, opponent? I dare you. I'm gonna say yes to this, and I'm just gonna add some green mana, and once upon a time. Those are some serious whiff skis. I think I'm gonna get Snow-Covered Forest, though. I am gonna get Wooded Foothills here, because Foothills I can start replaying with Raminap. I'll just pass it back. Don't mind if I do. Okay. I think we just go get Jetmir's Garden here. Okay. Wasteland has come out. Gonna say yes here. Make some green mana. I think I want some guaranteed value off of this Raminap. That's why I didn't do anything there. My opponent's gonna play around the Endurance here. Oh, they don't. Alright. You got me. Alright, so now we have so much mana, it's crazy. I'm gonna say yes to Carpet. I'm gonna make some white mana. Play my land, and I'm going to cast Savian's Reclamation, targeting Elvish. Yeah, I don't think my opponent can win anymore. Reclaimer is a 3/4, and then we're gonna start doing Flagstones things. Flame Slash! Wow, dude. Wow, that's a card I was not expecting. Flame Slash, man. That's wild. Alright. Alright. You got me good, opponent. You got me good with your Flame Slash deck. Untap. Sure. So, I'm gonna say yes here. Add some green mana. And I'm just gonna wasteland my opponent. And then we're just gonna Savines, targeting Reclaimer. Also should have wastelanded the other way. I'm gonna copy Savines, targeting Wasteland, and the game ends. Perfect. Game number 3. Any changes? I don't think so. Deafening Silence is interesting in this matchup. I don't think it's worth a card, unfortunately. We're gonna be on the draw now, so Prismatic Ending becomes a lot more exciting. I think I'd rather just have Minsk, though. There's an argument for just cutting Tracker. Tracker is the card that I'm the most skeptical about. This seems fine. This hand is weak to Wasteland, though. Would love to have access to something like... Okay. I think we're just gonna Source of Plowshares here. They have days, but if I can stop my opponent from like getting a ton of value from DRC, I think that's good for me. Delver. Delver's kind of more beatable than DRC. Zenith for 0 into Bog. You pass the turn. Would love to find the red source. Put in fetches. Guess they're gonna bolt. Okay. Because they missed like a little scry action there. DRC. Okay, so that was the draw. Otherwise they would have played it last turn. Also they didn't flip Delver, so I'm assuming DRC was the card. Red source. That's kind of the opposite of a red source. If they have another lightning bolt, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble here. I really need to find the red source there. Like it was extremely important for me to find the red source there. They beat the Murktide and they flipped red source one time. Please. Okay, so at least I get to... I guess I'm gonna Scavenginous here. Place around Daze better. And I guess we're just gonna eat Murktide right now. Gain some life. Do some stuff. It's possible for the Scavenginous to stabilize here. Never mind. Almost. Alright. Ugh, brutal. Let's draw a red source here, shall we? Let's draw a red source. Because this is 6 damage coming my way. We're gonna need to be able to beat a force. I am going to need to be able to beat a force here. Take 6. Red source. Flagstones. Alright, so we can't beat force. Oh, maybe I should have upkeeped. How funny is that if my opponent bloodmins me here, they actually fix my mana? Alright. Show me that force. Needs to be exactly force. Yep. Yep. Needed to be exactly force of will. We're beating everything else. Caracas. Titania because of Titania? So at this point I can't both answer. They also have Murktide as the last card, of course. So I can't both answer the Aberration and the DRC and the Murktide. So yeah, I think we easily win this game if we find a red source. If we find a red source in a timely manner, we win this game so easily. Yeah, this is one of the weaknesses of this deck, right? It's just the fact that our mana base can be a little bit challenging sometimes. But yeah, if we had found that red source, we were gonna get in there very easily. Okay, last match. Let's see if we can get there. This hand is so close, man. We're on the draw. I think I'm gonna keep it. Like, we have Wasteland and Prismatic Ending as great interaction. I think this is a keep. Obviously, Dryad in the opener and Reclaimer are not where I want to be. Polluted Delta, Badlands. Thoughtseize. I imagine they take Reclaimer here. I'm assuming this is Reanimator. So I think I'm just going to Wasteland them. Hope that they don't have another land. They play like 13 lands or something. So maybe we can... Whoa. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, I think I'm still going for the Wasteland plan here. We don't really have any information about their deck, but Jetmir's Garden is better than Reclaimer, rather. Than playing Dryad Arbor, right? If our opponent took Prismatic Ending... Oh, wait, so it is. Wow. Why did they take Prismatic Ending? They're playing Reanimator. That's kind of wild. So we have not played it, and yeah, we just have not played a spell just yet, so we actually can cast this once upon for free. I'm still gonna play out Jetmir's Garden here instead of Dryad Arbor. Alright. Untap. Cast once upon a time. That's pretty funny. Let's get Caracas, I guess? I'm gonna play out Dryad Arbor. Caracas helps us beat any non-Archon threat. They did find their swamp, so now I assume they're gonna go End Step, Entomb. So I have to draw Endurance one time. Zenith. It's almost Endurance. I mean, I'm still gonna cast it because I can find Scavenging Ooze. It's too slow. It's one turn too slow, but I still think it's the right play. Because if they don't find it here, I just never tap out ever again, and we should be fine. Maybe they'll get excited and yeah. I was gonna say maybe they get excited and they just go for Elish Norn or something, and she's like, no, they actually went for the right play. Damn it. Can we dodge one turn? Can we dodge one turn? Oh my god, we dodged. Yep. Well, we're never tapping out ever again. Why did my opponent Prismatic Ending? I don't get it. Why would they Prismatic Ending on turn 1? That's wild, man. Well, Endurance is coming in. Corroborate is coming in. Deafening Silences are coming in. And Collector Roof obviously coming out. Scavenging is fantastic. Civil Library doesn't do anything. Talus Strucker doesn't do anything. The question now is, do I want to cut Wasteland? Nah, Wasteland's fine. We just saw how good it was this game. I definitely want the extra Vesuva. It's a redundant copy of Wojugabog. I could... Oh, please, Prismatic Ending, of course. Yeah, I think I want to cut all Prismatic Endings. That means, I guess, Sevin and Silver Library. Those are big ifs. Skeptical about those. Also skeptical about Minsk. Guess I'm gonna bring in Tracker instead of Minsk. At least I can tutor for the Tracker. So this hand is good, but it doesn't have any turn 0 interaction, so I think I kind of have to ship this. This is obviously much better because it does have turn 0 interaction. We're gonna bottom Titania here. I think I'd rather have access to my lands. So keep this, bottom Titania. Put them all to 6. They could have the nuts. We're not beating the nuts. You know, turn 1, Dark Rit into... Okay, so I'm assuming that's going to take Endurance. I guess they can just reanimate this Grief and then like try to beat me with it. It's not the worst plan, honestly. They pitched Dark Ritual to Grief. Lotus Petal. Are their last 2 cards Entomb and, and Reanimate? Animate Dead. Okay. Okay, so they're going to take Zenith here. I guess Animate Dead is... Oh, Animate Dead was their reanimation spell last game. That's why they did. That makes sense. Okay. So this is not killing me anytime soon. And this is like the one card my opponent does not know about. That's nice. That is nice. Like, this Grief is not going to be racing me. Zenith. Yeah, that one plays. Gonna Zenith for 1. Claimer. Go. Honestly, there's an argument there for Zenith for 0, just to get a Dryad in play. So next turn I can go Tracker into land. The problem with doing that is that if I do, then I'm in a spot where I cannot... if I don't draw exactly a green card on my next turn, I cannot actually pitch Endurance, which puts me in really bad shape. Also, if this turn I have to pitch Endurance, then I'm going to be forced to pitch my Tracker, and then I have nothing. So we untap with Reclaimer, which is great. And now, guess we play a land and say go. And now we just never ever tap out anymore. If we could just block this Grief. We're just going to win Reclaimer style. Just going to have Reclaimer do its thing. Alright, Grief gets in there. You got me. Boom. I think I'm going to respect... Magus of the Moon here. Mostly because it's free. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to take 2 more. I'm going to take 2 more just to have the flexibility of doing whatever I want here. That's really funny though. Entomb. Go nuts. Entomb for Archon. Delta. Grief gets in for another 2. That's cool. Alright. Crack Flagstones. Get Jetmirs. Okay, this game is locked up. I don't think my opponent can... we could have played second Reclaimer there even. Oof. Fire. So there's my Tracker. Fetch for Basic Forest. Snuff out. Wow. That's the one you snuff out? You snuff out the Tracker instead of the Reclaimer? Like, I obviously did that because I have Endurance in hand, so I don't care, but wow, really? That's what you snuff out, opponent? I don't think they're playing around Bojuka Bog at this point, right? They just don't... They're just completely ignoring the fact that Bojuka Bog exists. Because that is... Yeah, that's a spicy play. That is a heck of a spicy play. I'll take 2 more. Man, this Grief is doing work. Funny how even I took all of this damage, and even still, I think it's better for me to gain 4 than it is to like do anything else here. So let's get Field. Now I play Reclaimer. Opponent can't attack anymore, or I can just make infinite 2/2s. That's also an option. Reclaimer. Pass the turn. What do you got, opponent? Animate Dead the Archon. Interesting you'd save that, opponent. Ha! But you have activated my trap card. I actually never really watch Yu-Gi-Oh, so I don't know how that whole thing works, but I know that it goes something like that. Savannah. Can I get Bog, please? Bog you. GG you. We good here? Enemy Dead resolves. The funny thing, even if my opponent had Exhume and if they had, what's his name? If they had Entomb in response, I would have also been able to Endurance. Attack. I dare you. I dare you to attack, opponent. Library? Oof. I'm going to be drawing cards now. This is gas. Zombie Apocalypse. Zombie Apocalypse. Grief. Gone. You got me. My opponent is a fighter. My opponent is certainly a fighter. Exhume. Yes. Yes. Don't mind if I do. I'll take a Tireless Tracker. Thank you very much. I will take a Tireless Tracker. Thank you very much. 3 and 2. Yeah, once we make it past turns 2, once I make it past turn 2, I feel like Reanimator is an extremely good matchup. But, you know, you have to dodge the nut draw. That's kind of like what it comes down to. Well, that was refreshing. That was definitely refreshing. It felt good to just play some good, clean Magic for once in the Legacy format. This was very exciting. I don't know how long this honeymoon phase is going to last, but I think I'm kind of excited to try out this new format. And this deck felt kind of reasonable considering the current state of things. The sideboard is a mess though. Like this sideboard is obviously a sideboard for a different metagame. And you could tell, you could tell over those games. But the main deck felt nice. The 3 endurances are very solid. Probably the third one is a flex slot. This feels like the one, like the big flex slot, like the second library and the third copy of endurance in the main deck. These feel like the big flex slots that could realistically be anything else. Besides that, the deck felt good. Like I felt like I was doing something up to par to what my opponents were doing, and really like the big issue that this deck has is the mana, and we saw that in the Delver matchup. Like it's one of those things where you just can't beat everything, and you need like a basis of power level in order to compete with what everybody else is doing. So at that point, you're in a situation where you may just be in a situation where you just have to get lucky to have things line up. But yeah, I mean, it was a problem in that specific match because we have the reps, and this is definitely something that I did consider, like the fact that in the Delver matchup you have access to like Pyroblast and reps. But the issue with that is the fact that that is a matchup where you don't really want to be fetching for your dual lands. You actually want to be fetching for your basics to play around Wasteland. So Pyroblast is a great card. It's a fantastic answer to stuff like Murktide, but at the same time, you are in a way kind of asking for trouble unless you choose to put a basic mountain in the deck, which I am definitely not going to. So it's interesting, right? Like it's interesting, like the different forces that you have to balance in with a deck like this, but it's very enjoyable. I really like this deck. I think it's a ton of fun, and it's my little baby, so obviously I have a lot of pride in it as well. And that's gonna be it for this one, but you can definitely expect some more Legacy content from me in the future. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And if you would like to support my content, if you did enjoy what you saw, you have a couple of different ways to go about it. You can whenever you use Mana Traders and TCG Players services, while using the links in the description down below, you are supporting my content at no cost extra to you at all. And if you'd like to support the content directly, you can go through Patreon, joining my Patreon. You can also make any direct donations with $30 or more. I will play in a deck list of your choice in a video. And finally, you can also book coaching sessions. That's another way to help support my content. Thank you so much for everything, and I'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.